Hello and welcome to today's video, which is a tour of Philip's China collection. So I brought you all through to the dining room where Philip has amassed a considerable amount of things to show you, and he's going to focus today on the long-running link between European royalty and their porcelain collections. Look at this.
This beautiful spread.
This beautiful spread is what we call the tip of the iceberg.
It's not all full sets yet. No. But I thought I would show you today all the different royal and noble services that we've got. They were usually the ones with money, so they were the ones who could afford to buy the most beautiful pieces, and I suppose that's why the connection is always there. Or they were patrons of different porcelain manufacturers, especially in France. The first piece I'm going to start with, because it's Meissen, and Meissen was the first place in Europe where they learned the secret of how to make porcelain. So that's why I think it's quite fitting. The Meissen porcelain factory was owned by Friedrich August II of Saxony, who also later became the King of Poland. And he was besties with Count Heinrich von Brühl. So he made him the director of the Meissen porcelain factory. And as a wedding present in the 1730s, he allowed him, actually every single director was allowed to commission a service, but this one was particularly splendid. He allowed him to make this famous swan service.
So for free?
For free, yeah. So this is a re-edition of it. It's really beautiful. It's an extensive service, and this is a modern version because this one does not have all the painting on it. So this is what it actually looked like with all the beautiful painting on it. But then this version, the modern one, is really cool because some of the pieces are unglazed and then the other parts are glazed. So you get really a play of water, which is really
It's beautiful. I love this plate. This was sent to me as a gift many years ago, and I absolutely love it. It was sent as a gift to remind me that one day the lake will be back.
Which is delightful, and it's very fitting. So this one also was a huge service because the Count von Brühl was famous for his huge dinners, and at the time it was done as the à la française. You would have your plates around the table.
A little bit like this, but many more of them.
No, but what I mean is like you'd have the plates at these plates setting, and then in the center there would be all the different, it'd be like a buffet style basically, but in the center for every course. So there were different courses already on the table.
All the food came at the same time.
Yes, so for that he needed a lot of plates, and he used to serve like 80 or 100 different dishes per his meal.
Every meal?
The sort of formal dinners were 80 to 100 dishes.
That's
so he needed
crazy.
a lot of them. Yeah, that's why I think this one's quite cool. From now Germany, then Saxony, we are moving on to France, because the next one, this one is from Sèvres. And Sèvres was started in the 18th century, and its patron was Louis XV, who is the one this service was made for. Louis XV did not just happen to fall in love with porcelain by himself. It was his mistress, Madame de Pompadour, who completely fell in love with it and then convinced him to buy huge stakes in the company.
She was a woman of great taste.
Yeah, she was fabulous taste.
We have a lot to thank her for in the decorative arts.
Honestly. And also it brought the whole thing to France, really. It made it so popular because before porcelain was popular to eat off of, they often ate of silver gilt plates. This pattern was made for Louis XV himself for the Chateau of Fontainebleau in 1757. And this is a re-edition of that plate now made by Bernardo, because I don't think I can afford the Sèvres original if they come up for sale. It's also called Carmen Camailleux, and this one is really cool for several reasons. This specific pattern I love because it's pink, and you don't particularly think of pink as a very masculine color. So you would wonder, why would a King Louis XV, choose this color for his porcelain? And there's actually two reasons for it. One, pink was seen as a sort of softer version of red, and as red was a very masculine color. So pink was a masculine color. And on top of that, pink was incredibly expensive to make. It was the most expensive color to produce because it uses gold oxide. So this was basically him just showing off. It's gold and pink. Gold and more gold. Louis XV's ties to Sèvres were completely influenced by Madame de Pompadour. I don't have anything that belonged to her. I do have something that was made for his last mistress, Madame de Barry. This is again a re-edition by Bernardo of the original one. She is quite a character as well because she started out as a prostitute, basically. So the king, Louis XV, being able to do basically whatever he wants, falls in love with her and decides, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my friend to marry her, the Count of Barry, so that she would become an aristocrat, and that way she become his official mistress. It was a huge scandal, and especially because he loved her so much. He broke royal protocol on more than one occasion. For example, at her apartment in Versailles, which was directly next to his, she was allowed to use gold on the paneling, and it was something that was only reserved for the members of the royal family.
Yeah, even Madame de Pompadour, she never had gold.
Mistress was not allowed, and Marie Antoinette hated her. As Marie Antoinette was higher in rank, she was the crown princess, the Dauphine of France. She was the one who had to speak to Madame de Barry first, before Madame de Barry was allowed to speak to Marie Antoinette. That became such a scandal because Marie Antoinette refused, that her mother had to intervene.
So this is the Empress of Austria had to intervene.
The Empress of Austria had to send her daughter a letter saying, get your stuff together and speak to the woman.
Speak to the king's mistress. You might not like it, but the king's cross.
Honestly. And then finally, Marie Antoinette one day walked past her and just said, oh, it's crowded today at Versailles, and walked off. That was the conversation. But that meant that from then on, she was allowed to speak to Marie Antoinette.
But what I find incredible is that whilst all of that intrigue was going on, whilst she had her breakfast, she was looking at this plate.
I know, isn't it beautiful?
Isn't that moving?
I love the ribbon detail with the flowers.
I do feel that looking at such a pretty plate would soothe one's scandals quite a lot.
And there are still some pieces of her original set in her apartment in Versailles. So that's really cool. When we went there, I was taking lots of pictures of that. From Madame de Barry, I feel like we have to go to Marie Antoinette. So this is Marie Antoinette's favorite service. It's called Perles et Barbeaux, or pearls and cornflowers. Cornflowers were her favorite flowers. That was made for her, for the Petit Trianon, which was basically her haven away from court life. And this was not like a little garden shed. This is a palace in the grounds of the Palace of Versailles. This one I love. We use this one all the time. It's quite funny. I think her sisters-in-law did not like her at all. They had one made nearly identical, but with red pearls to try and make it different and original. The whole thing, the whole court drama, it's like the Real Housewives.
Yeah, all the court drama happened over the porcelain.
The Housewives in Versailles. It's like the most bizarre thing. Anyway, I love this set so much, and Marie Antoinette loved it too. So there's still some pieces that have come back to the Palace of Versailles because after the revolution, it was all sold. And bit by bit, some pieces are returning to Versailles, which I think is really nice. And so you can see some of it at the Petit Trianon. There's some in her china pantry, and there's also some set up in the dining room.
Oh, it's wonderful to see it in the dining room, see it as it would have been.
And this is also a re-edition by Bernardo, because the original, again, I can't afford. Sticking with Sèvres, or rather the modern re-editions by Bernardo, this service is called Gobelet du Roi, and it was ordered by Louis XVI for his officers. Officers that might be the most important in France. It was namely the officers of bread, wine, and fruit. And this one was delivered first to Versailles in 1783. This one is one of my favorites, and it also became one of the favorites just in the late 18th century, because it was one of the most ordered services from Sèvres.
Even though it was basically a staff set. He ordered it for the staff.
Yeah, but it's so beautiful. It's also known as the ruban de Barbeaux, the cornflower ribbons.
It is truly beautiful, this one.
I love this one. And each one has got a different flower in the center, each different size.
But can I just say, the officers of the bread, wine and fruit, what happened if someone said, can you just carry the cheese through to the king? Would they be like, no?
Maybe they were lactose intolerant. So this one's really quite special as well, because this one was not made by Louis XVI, but by his younger brother. His younger brother was the patron of the Manufacture du Comte d'Artois. He was the Count of Artois, and this was made in 1774. It's called à la reine, and I love it. This is very also typical of the 18th century with the different pieces like that. This is your favorite set, isn't it?
Yes, I love this one.
It's because
we had this for fish and chips last night, yes. Made me really happy.
Because porcelain is fired at very high temperatures, and at the time in wood-powered ovens, there'd be little pieces of charcoal could get onto the porcelain and causing imperfections, like little black dots. You might have seen it on some old sets. And what they used to do with this set is that they were able to just put a little flower little flower over those little.
So that's why a lot of those 18th century ones were not symmetrically
That's it.
placed.
It's just to try and disguise any problems.
I love that. I love the looseness of it. It's very champêtre, very countryside, very informal.
No, I really like this one. And then this one's also a modern re-edition by Bernardo. And going back to the revolution, actually, after the royal family was murdered, they brought back the monarchy several times in the 19th century. And the Comte d'Artois became King Charles X of France in the 19th century.
Yes, so Marie Antoinette's brother-in-law, Louis XVI's brother, later became king.
Speaking of Sèvres, actually, this one was made not for the French royal family, but for the Prince-Elector Wilhelm II of Hesse in Germany, now Germany. So this one is made in 1829, and each one of them has got a different set of flowers, different ribbon flowers.
Oh, they are beautiful. I do love these. And again, these are re-editions
Yes,
by Bernardo.
of the original Sèvres.
And the original Sèvres, I think, had even more different types of flowers. Every single plate was different. I think that Bernardo have, I don't know exactly, but something like 12 different patterns for each type of plate.
I think it's fewer than that. I think it might be 8, but then there's also only one type with the soup plates and everything, but obviously they would have all been different and all hand painted. The modern re-editions are not. They have very high quality transferware, but as opposed to some of the original ones that I've got here that I'll show you in a bit, which are all hand painted.
Yeah, and these are still beautifully finished with real gold.
These so much. I think that's
So
so,
gorgeous.
and I love that you can sort of start to see the empire and the palm leaf here. Do you see?
Yes.
Fascination in that border.
We have 4 now. At the time of Mummy and Percy's wedding, we only had 2.
These 2.
Yes, and Mummy and Percy had 1 each at the
did
big
they?
table there. So these were their wedding plates.
I love these. All the ones I've shown you so far, and there's still quite a few to go actually, have been quite European in design. But obviously, Europeans were introduced to porcelain by pieces from China and from Japan, and those were and are extremely valuable. So obviously they were also copied, the same patterns, because people fell in love with it. And that happened throughout the 18th century, but also at the beginning of the 19th century. And this one, as I'm about to show you, is an original 19th century one. This dinner service is one of my favorites that I've got. It was produced by several different manufacturers in the UK, because there wasn't really the same copyright laws, so people copied. Meissen was copied everywhere, Sèvres was copied everywhere, and also historic plates. There would have been one or several that would have been sent out from China or from Japan. This is more Imari ware, so more Japan, would have been sent to the UK or to Europe in general, and then pieces were copied. This one was favoured by King George IV. And King George IV of England, you might know his Brighton Pavilion. We actually filmed a video there as well.
We did,
can
yes.
link up here.
Spectacular. It's chinoiserie on steroids.
Yes. It's like this, he loved everything that was based on like the historic idea of the Orient, anything Asiatic. And this was the dinner service that he used in his huge banqueting hall. It looks perfect there. It also looks very good on this table. This is not the exact piece that he owned, but it's from the same period. This is an original. This is not like the other ones, a re-edition. This actually was made in the 19th century. Every single color has to be fired at a different temperature, so it takes so many different steps. And also when they're painting it, it is often a different color than the finished result. Like, for example, the gold is brown. So it's quite difficult. It has to be polished afterwards. It's quite difficult for the painters, but you can see how skilled they were.
It's incredible that they're painting with topsy-turvy colours that don't look at all like the finished result.
We use it for dinners here because I've got enough. But
We had a memorable burger night on it.
yes, I love using this one. The only thing is, which I'll show you, look at the difference in size between the modern size dinner plates and the 19th century ones. I mean, it's quite a bit smaller because at the time, again, it would have been more à la française that would have been served, what we talked about earlier.
So it's effectively a buffet plate, isn't
Exactly, which is why it can be so richly decorated. It's not served with the food already plated on it, so you can actually enjoy the pattern on it. It's also much smaller because you can keep helping yourself. So I think that's quite a nice little difference. I love this one, and I think when the grand dining room is finished, we might put this one in the display cabinets so that we
Because you have quite a few pieces of that now.
Yes, but this is a full set, so really happy with this one. I think we should stick in the UK and with hand painted. So this one is really quite cool because the difference about this one is that everything is raised. You can feel the leaves. You see?
Yes, you can definitely see that rosebud is raised. But in fact, all of the leaves and stems are raised. They're in relief. They're in relief as well.
And this is also hand painted. This was made by the Worcester porcelain factory and in the UK. And the story goes, this is also known as the Blind Earl service. The story goes that the Earl of Coventry, after he had a hunting accident in the 1780s, he wanted something he could feel. It was tactile. And so he requested his dinner service.
So he could feel the beauty of it,
but
the pattern.
That might only be a legend. A legend I
like
want
the
to
legend.
choose to believe. There are also some pieces that already sort of suggest it was popular before that. So I'm not sure if it actually was him. Maybe he saw it somewhere. Well, before the accident.
Maybe he felt it somewhere at a dinner party.
It's like, oh, interesting. And then requested it. But the problem with this one is I can't tell you how old this specific plate is because I don't know. I can't remember how much I paid for it, maybe like 50 euros. The porcelain mark suggests that it's 18th century. However, this is also the mark that's probably most faked. So I'm not sure. I might have gotten lucky or not, because if it is 18th century, it's worth like $2,000 or more. So, who knows?
Who knows? It's very pretty. That's what counts.
And I love the pattern. I think it's so nice with the little bugs, the flowers. And actually little bugs in it remind me a little bit of the Herend set that I love as well. Because this one is not decorated on the back. This one is.
Oh, yes it is.
And the Herend one is as well.
So is this something that you look for in a plate? You do like a little bit of decoration?
Is it? I love the fact that it's it's not something that you would really ever see, but it's a little attention to detail that I really like.
And again, the bugs were used to hide faults in the firing.
Exactly, absolutely. This one is by Herend. It's called the Rothschild bird pattern. Now, the story behind it is quite lovely, actually. This set was commissioned after the Baroness de Rothschild lost her necklace. She couldn't find it anywhere. And then all of a sudden, her gardener saw two birds playing with a necklace in a tree.
That was his story.
Well, I was going to say, I'm not sure exactly if the gardener maybe misplaced it and then found it, but that's the story. And they love that sort of family legend so much that they commissioned this dinner service to be made. So it features the birds playing with jewellery in trees.
It is delightful. This is one that I had been in love with for a very, very long time. I had 7 plates that I bought at auction. I was so proud of them. And since you got here, you've made it into quite a big set now for dinners.
Yes, for the guest dinners, which is wonderful. I've really, really liked this one. Princess Diana chose this one as her wedding porcelain. She was also a collector of the blue ribbon pattern, which is got little cornflowers.
And that's also Herend
as well. And then both of her sons, their wedding porcelain was also Herend. It was a re-edition of the Queen Victoria pattern I'm going to show you next. William and Catherine have got a green and purple one that's absolutely beautiful. And then Harry and Meghan have got the same one but in blue and pink, which is also really, really very charming. And those are a re-edition of the Queen Victoria pattern. And the British royal family's connection with Herend actually started way back in 1851 with the first World Exhibition in London. Herend brought out this new beautiful pattern. Queen Victoria fell in love with it and she ordered it and they named it after her. I don't have a plate in this one yet, but this is the champagne cooler that we used last night actually. It's got some of these lovely butterflies and yeah.
This is one of my favourite sets from Herend. I really think this one's spectacular.
I've got some pieces but no plates yet.
You have the candlesticks, I can see them behind you. So those of you who saw our fish and chips night last night will have seen these candlesticks.
I think this is very telling of historic objects because things were so precious that you wanted to have multi-purposes, right? Like if you had a table, you wanted to be different sizes or you want to have different functions. If you had jewelry, you wanted to be able to mount it different ways, wear it different ways. So
tiara or necklace.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with porcelain. You could have this one either as a 2-candle candlestick or as a 1 candle.
It's so clever. So depending on, just a little meal for 2 and we've run out of candles, so it's half a stub of 1 there.
Or maybe the company is not that not that important.
Not that illustrious.
You might decide that you're going to have a 1 candle sort of in the evening rather than the 4-candle one. But the British royal family did not have connections just with Hungarian porcelain, also with France, and specifically with Bernardo, because this set was made for the first state visit of Queen Elizabeth II to France in April of 1957.
Oh, I know so
you
much.
love this one.
This is one of my favourite ones because of the simplicity.
So I like this one. It's very of its time.
Yes.
The reason why it's not my
1950s.
personal favourite is because you can see how sort of grey the porcelain is.
Yeah, it's a cream, I would say,
Yeah, like a
more
sort
than
of
white.
greige.
But I don't know, it's delicate, it's lovely.
And you have to also imagine the use of this much gold 10 odd years after the war, after the Second World War. This was a hugely expensive service to make. And France was barely coming out of the effects of the war. But of course, Elizabeth and her sister Margaret were the two most glamorous women of the time. So I think Bernardo was very happy to be linked to them. And they made a service for Margaret's wedding in 1960 as well. This one, they offered as a wedding gift to Princess Margaret. So I think it was a 12-person set, if I remember correctly. You can see it goes back to the French sort of heritage. It's Louis XV style. It's sort of that early Sèvres style that Madame de Pompadour had. It's sort of a reimagination of that.
And the colours, again, that 1960, it really is that, isn't it? The pale grey and the pale pink, rather like the Dior colours of the time. I find this one incredibly charming.
It's very elegant. I really like this one. The next one I want to talk about is actually possibly my favourite. It's difficult to choose a favourite because I just love porcelain in general, but this one is very special. This one is called Flora Danica. It's by Royal Copenhagen. And the story behind it is quite fascinating and a little bit scandalous because Denmark in the 18th century had an alliance with Russia, with Catherine the Great. She was at war with the Ottomans. Now, she needed help from her alliance partner, from Denmark. But Denmark had its own problems going on in Denmark, so they couldn't help. So she was pissed off. She'd had it. So they thought, do you know what'll make her feel better? A nice dinner service. Would work on me, to be fair, darling, just for future reference. But they decided to start producing this huge, elaborate dinner service with all the flowers of Denmark. She actually died before the set was complete. So the royal family was like, do you know what? We'll just keep it. And the original set is still used by the Danish royal family today. But perhaps equally importantly, it is the only dinner service that is still being produced today in the exact same way it was produced in the 18th century. You see, they've all got different flowers, do you see?
Oh, they are so beautiful.
Names on the back and
oh my goodness, written by hand and all painted by hand.
So
and that does make it the most expensive dinner service in production today.
Yes. This is a set I'm trying to add on to piece by piece. And actually, for most of my things that I buy, not just porcelain, but also things for the house, I buy at auction because it's much cheaper. And I tend to leave a lot of low bids on things that we might need. So either I don't get it and it goes for much more, or I get it at a really good price. And the same thing goes for this set because
you very rarely get this set, and it's a cause of some celebration whenever.
When I do, it's like great if I'm like one piece for 100 euros, which is a lot of money, but it's only
a fraction
of what it would cost new. This is the one that after I just bought it at auction, I went to Harrods because I love browsing the porcelain section there, and I saw this same one on the table laid out and it said, please don't touch. And I was quite curious how much it would be new. Rare.
In Harrods, you can touch things. So that was already like,
Usually people going there, well, unless it's me, can afford to do this. I have 12 of those, you know what I mean? So I said, please don't touch. So I asked the guy who was standing nearby, I said, oh, how much is this one? And he said, oh, lovely choice, lovely piece, sir, lovely. Let me go and check for you, sir. I'll be right back, sir. And so he went off, came back. It's £4,500, sir. So like, thank you so much. I'll think about it. I just bought it for, I can't quite remember, 300 euros, I think, at auction.
You did do well.
So
it's our bread basket, usually, actually.
For the guest dinners. I use it for the guest dinners. And honestly, when I have enough of the plates, we will use it for the guest dinners as well. I mean, that's sort of the point of these things.
Yes, there's no point in having things without using them.
Also, they look fabulous with the dining chairs.
I'm sorry, did you want me to show the world? Shall we do it so that it's the right way round? And you can see the full beauty with the dining chair. Well, you know, some men would be putting sports bets on and gambling. You gamble on auctions.
Gamble? It's an educated choice.
I love it. It makes me happy every day, the beautiful dinner services that you make. And what's really funny, Philip only has a couple of these plates, which means we can only use them so far if there's only two of us. So we tend to have it for our dinners in front of the TV in bed here. That's the only time we ever use it.
I've used it for McDonald's before.
Oh, yeah. Makes it even more glamorous.
It's so much nice. It's so much fun to be able to use those things. So that's what they're for. They're utilitarian objects. I think they should be used. And honestly, a lot of these things have lost their value. So even if in the 80s it was like, oh, this has to be kept pristinely inside the cabinet. No one can touch it, no one can even look at it.
Yeah, if you look at on eBay now, you'll probably be able to find replacement pieces very cheaply. So use it. Get it out of the cupboard.
I tend to buy a few extra ones just in case something breaks. And honestly, with all of these things, I have to sort of tell myself that something might break when I lay the table, that something might break during dinner, and that I have to be okay with that. And if I'm not okay with that happening, then I don't use it, which actually is not the case for any service.
Well, with these, most of these you only have 1 or 2 plates of, but the ones that we do have entire sets of and use at the guest dinners are dinner plates we have enough to use. Yeah. This we have the whole set, which is wonderful. This we have pretty much the whole set as well. This one we have a small set of. And of course, this one we have a full set of. And the rest is just 1 or 2, more for historic interest than anything else.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And actually, the last one, I think, I don't want you to get porcelain fatigue, because I'll just talk about one more, which I think is quite special, which is this one. We've got 4 plates. This is the service that used to belong, the actual one that belonged to the royal family of Cambodia. And it was sent as a gift, and it's really something we treasure. We use it for Christmas once. This is one of those things where I still don't think it's too good to use, but we're a bit more careful with it.
Yes, because that is not replaceable.
And honestly, if I had had a set for 12 or 13, I would use it for the guest dinners, but we had never 4 for the guest dinners. That's why it doesn't get a lot of use. But isn't it incredible? It's the only piece that actually belonged to the royal family.
Yes, all of these are in the same patterns that they had.
From the same time, sometimes.
Yes.
This one.
But this actually belonged to them, and it originally came from Limoges. So they had it made in Limoges.
There we go. Limoges, France.
It is very beautiful.
It is. It really is. It's quite delicate, the gold work.
Yes, it's wonderful. And to think that I was standing in the royal palace in Cambodia with Jerry. Beautiful.
Yeah. It's probably the biggest museum piece that we've got, maybe after this one.
I know there's a lot more on the table, and you haven't been through everything, but I think you have talked about all of the ones with royal connections. So it seems like a good place to end.
All right.
It is the tip of the iceberg.
Yes.
So if anybody would like to see part 2 of the China Pantry tour, then I'm sure we can do that.
There might even be a part 3. And there's still no China Pantry. We've got the room, but that's a long time off. So you can't really put it on display yet. We'll get there.
Well, thank you for that, Philip. And now we just have to put everything away again.
Oh, I know. And there's still quite a few to talk about in future, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
Part 2.